All right, guys. We've got Rogue in the bottom right side of the map, and he's going up against BYUN. It is, of course, going to be the KSL Week 70 quarterfinals. It's a best of 3 between these two. We've gone back and forth over the years, and I'm hoping to see a little bit of old school BYUN. When I say old school BYUN, I don't want him to just be all-inning, 2-base pushes, crazy multi-drops. I want to see, if he does go to 3-base, I want to see that, like, 7 reactors just pumping out Marines, you know. I am screwed if you get to a proper number of hive tech units, but I'm going to try and not let it get there. I hope we see BYUN play that old school momentum style. It's been weird. I keep seeing BYUN hit semis, finals of tournaments online and doing really well and beating top players. Yet recently I've been struck that BYUN looks so hot and cold at the moment. And I get he's always had a style that's very up and down, but it feels like some of his games are so on point. And then the next game, it's like he's just tunnel visioning so badly and making so many basic mistakes. So I feel like BYUN's still kind of de-rusting after his off-season to a certain extent. And there's moments of brilliance starting to appear, but I'm hoping that he can improve and build upon that and take it from moments of brilliance to being a lot more consistent, because that is what he's been lacking. And, you know, like I said, there's just moments where he's supply blocked far too often. Now, obviously, this was not a supply block. He wasn't having any unit frozen. That depot was perfectly timed. But yeah, he's just missing too many basic things. And there's too many times where I go, oh, this is a good build. And he just doesn't build a medevac for 2 minutes or something like that. And it ends up giving up the momentum in a situation. He has to go to late game, which is not his forte. He's okay at late game. He definitely improved it over the years, but still don't think it's his natural state. And I think it's going to take him another few weeks of practice before he gets back to the point where he can take down a Solar or a Rogue in the late game stages. Then again, he did take out Rogue actually in late game in Pigfest. On the other hand, I've got to be fair. Rogue decided to do his Mass Overseer Lurkinitis meme. And if Rogue didn't do that and just A-moved him, he could have won the game. But instead he spent 3 minutes just sitting there building Overseers and Nidus Worms. And that really kind of gave up his lead in that game, because he was massively ahead in that game. He kind of stopped BYUN's all-in attempt. And then gave him 3 minutes to recover from it. So I do hope that Rogue, as much as I love that build, because it's fun and it's creative and it's cool, I always have said this, if you get forced to the end game, do it. That's great, because the game's already slowed down. But if you've already got momentum and you've got an advantage, you should never be pausing your momentum to build 30 Overseers and double Nidus Worm and start, like, because it takes away all your advantage. So it's a good play to do from behind when you're on the defensive already, when you don't have win conditions. It's a very bad move when you've already got the forward position where you should be building upon that. Third command center on the gold base. Do love that choice for BYUN. He's going to go for what looks like just a Hellion Banshee after that. Rather standard follow-up. The Hellion Reaper poking forward. Rogue's got the creep spread coming out. The creep spread has been very slow from top players recently. They're really prioritizing getting those early drones out. I think there's more of a focus on, I've got to get more minerals, because these queens cost that extra 25 minerals. That's a little tough to deal with. Overlord Scout's going to go in. Going to see the tech lab there, bubbling. There's no reason that would be another barracks or another factory. There's no 1 barracks, 2 factory, or 2 barracks, one factory with a double tech lab build. So he knows that's the starport upgrading. Almost certainly going to be cloaked Banshees. Of course, the cloak could get cancelled, and indeed it does. BYUN cancels the cloak. He's still going to build the 2 Banshees, but it's a cloakless build. He's going to go 2nd and 3rd barracks on these reactors. So you'll notice here, does run those up from the natural into the main. Not a bad move. Oh, chat's talking about Mistborn right now. Oh, were they going to do a Mistborn TV show? Were they? But it fell through because Brandon Sanderson wanted more control, hey? Ah, interesting. Wouldn't want them to ruin it. Fair call from him. Fair call. The Mistborn series is his best, in my opinion. Oh, that Reaper barely gets out of there. Queens need to pull back, spread some creep. We've got Lings coming out, 7 Queens, 8th and 9th coming, Lair, and a 4th hatchery in the top right as well. Hellion Reaper coming forward, the Queens trying to defend this as best they can. I mean, you're sniping tumors, which is nice. It does slow down the creep, but all it does is slow it down. Rogue should immediately be replacing those. He's going to build them a little further back as he sends his Zerglings forward. 4th hatchery coming down in the top right side of the map as well. Oh. 4th and 5th barracks. Decisions are going to be made very shortly by BYUN. Keep your eyes on his production tab in about 40 seconds. 6 to 6.5 minutes is usually where a Terran decides what they're going to do next. And I would imagine... Oh, he's supply blocked here a little bit. There we go. Now depots are finishing. It's fine. Oh, here we go. Ling run by. I would imagine an 8 racks would be good on this map, but I don't think BYUN's style is tending in the direction of 8 racks at the moment. Might just see a 4th command center go down. A couple of SCVs fall. I think that was 4. 3 SCVs. Not too bad. Hey, Marines and Hellions are going to cut this off. Rogue says, well, if I'm cornered, I might as well go for the workers. But doesn't even get a single one. They're all just very heavily damaged, but not quite dying. Love to see the SCVs heal up those. And it looks like the Banshee's flying to the main. For some reason, there's 2 Spore Crawlers there. I think Rogue built one to save a drone and accidentally let it finish. For some reason, Rogue lets the Banshee survive, even though I don't even know if there's enough dead space down there to hide. Actually, there probably is. Banshee's going to get out of that main base to go home and defend counterattacks. 1-1 upgrades just now started for Rogue. Very big delay on that. Guys, that's huge. He's only started this at what? 6:30? 6.5 minutes starting your 1-1 upgrades. That's almost like I'm playing Mutalisk's levels of delay. That's not good if you're playing Ling Bane. Well, he doesn't even have a Hydra Den. Guys, he's playing 5-gas Ling Bane. Whoa, Rogue. He's going to go to 10 Queen Ling Bane. I think this is a bit of a screw up on his side. I don't think you want to be playing with your upgrades this late. Armory finishes. 2-2 has 1-1, sorry, has just finished. So 2-2 can start right now for BYUN. And BYUN's going 3 more barracks. He is 8-raxing. Did Rogue see the 8 racks? He did not see the 8 racks. He has no idea this is happening. He's building drones, a Hydra Den infestation bit. Rogue needs to do nothing but mass Ling Bane. And honestly, he needs to counterattack around the north side and cut in on the reinforcement angle. But BYUN's ready for it with his Hellions well positioned. Marines, tanks on the front. Ling Bane's going to come in here. Good setup. Pulls back to the siege tank, and you can't be fighting off creep into that. Rogue, he's going to try and loop some units around the south, potentially for a surround. 5th base gets cancelled. Good call for to give that up. But look at this tank setup. BYUN really far forward, and Rogue comes forward. But look at this. The Marines there. The tank shift-clicked onto that Baneling. You could see, I had the tank actually selected, so you could see it's shift-click. Rogue is getting hammered, dude. Good to see BYUN decisively commit to an 8 racks for once. He doesn't do this very often. Like I said, it's not really his flavor, but it's just going to catch a Rogue without the upgrades. Takes a fight too early. He should have been counterattacking and giving up ground. I truly believe that's always the best way to do it. You want to wait until you have the same upgrades, but Rogue fought a bit too early, and now because of that, BYUN has position. Marines on the front dealing with the Queens. We've got the Ling Bane around that top left, trying to wrap around on the rally, guys, and he's going to come in from all sides. Massive surrounding attempt from Rogue, but it's coming in late. Yes, the upgrades are even right now, but BYUN already gunned down everything he had, and Rogue just gets overwhelmed there in a game where I think we need to go back and just glance at why were those upgrades so very late in this game. If we go back to about 5.5 minutes, he's just dealing with some very standard pressure. He's got his 3 mineral lines up nice and early, so he'd done pretty well. His main does get a little undersaturated, but seems like he was prioritizing the Overseers to deal with the Banshees, of course, but the Cloak got cancelled, so that was a good pivot for BYUN after being scouted. And it feels like he just got distracted by his own Ling run by. Because Rogue's going up to 66 workers at this point. He starts double Evo a little bit late, and then he also is a bit distracted, I think, by the Zerglings. I mean, I think it was still very playable for Rogue, but doesn't really find crazy damage with these Lings. It's an acceptable trade, like 3 SCVs, a bunch of mining time. It's not amazing. And then these Banshees flying. Now, he has 2 spores on purpose. What the hell, guys? So he's built 4 Spore Crawlers. This is nonsense. Guys, if you go 9 Queens and fast lair with Overseer, you can skip spores entirely. Cyril would not have had a maybe he would have built 1 spore in the main, but you've got 3 Queens and an Overseer. You don't need spores at all. These Queens should be here. And, I mean, he's got an Overlord down there. He saw the Banshees coming, so they should easily shut this down. I think this is a bit of a sloppy opening for Rogue. And you've got to look at these details. When someone just dies like that, I mean, don't get me wrong, he could have bought time, waited for your upgrades, he could have counterattacked. But the fact that he got walloped that hard, I have to look back and analyze it, because I'm like, dude, you don't lose that hard without making some mistakes. All right. Going into game 2, Rogue's going to have to tighten things up. Just having a chat to Lambo the other day. And, yeah, I was like, you know, how's Zerg vs. Terran feeling? And he said, you know, it actually feels pretty good. Especially with the ghost change in the late game. But if you make 1 or 2 small mistakes, you do just die to 8 racks. It feels like it's real fragile getting past the 8 rack stage. You got to be really clean, really precise. But once you get past there, he said it feels like it's not bad for the Zerg at all. Might be Zerg favored. And I thought that was interesting input. We are on Talisman, by the way. This map's been patched, I think, just in the last few days. So these patches going forward after this tournament, I believe, are going to be blue minerals, which means they'll mine out slightly slower, but going to go down. That is a worker-only path. If you haven't seen this feature, guys, no other unit can fit through there, only workers. It's kind of cool feature. So you can get in and out. Kind of creates an almost island sort of setup there. Whilst we do have a normal ramp here, but workers can still get out to proxy or expand or do this or that. We do see in PvP people like to sneak in the back and try to build a pylon in the back of people's bases. Always funny when someone forgets to check for that. No scout, very standard for BYUN. Don't think Rogue's going to 12 pull you here, and he's going to go for the more normal expand. Now, I do wonder, guys, what do you think about Terran expanding down here and mining that open? I mean, would it really be bad if you just you seal up this left side and you expand there as your natural and there as your third? That gives you an amazing push path up towards the Zerg natural. I mean, that feels like it would be incredible, doesn't it? I'm like, I mean, yeah, but what if they flood you? It's like, well, you open these minerals up so quickly anyway. You can even mine them from the inside. So I don't know. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. You do get, 4 gold patches on that base is a pretty big boost. It's kind of, yeah, you can also chuck a siege tank on the high ground, kind of semi-covering it. It feels like it's weird that players haven't started taking that in this matchup, but maybe there's something I'm missing, some sort of like Ravager aggression or something that's just too hard to deal with. Don't see much Ravager aggression these days, though. Zergling's going to come over. BYUN's micro, very clean. Gets himself a Zergling. Almost got a drone before that, but not quite. And just pull away. Now, the question for Rogue is, does he try and expand forwards and take the other semi-gold base? This one only has 6 mineral patches, but once again, 3 golds. Even more exposed on that base. And the answer is not. Rogue is just going to go for the conservative third base on the right side. But he goes for Overlord Queen before third hatchery. And this is an adjustment some Zergs are making, just in case the Terran's blocking it. They say, let's just prepare for that. Normally you go hatchery, then the extra queen in Overlord, but Rogue's just doing it the other way around. Now, Rogue is building a very early 4th queen. And you can see, because of that, he doesn't have enough money to spend all of his lava on drones. So he's slowing down his drone production just to speed up the queens. And the reason he's doing that is he wants early creep coming out in the main. He wants early creep on the natural. He wants to just, advance the safety and the connectivity of the bases. And he says, I can be a little bit behind on my drones. I don't care about that because I've got the gold minerals to help make up for it. Now, he does get supply blocked rather badly on 44. So not an optimal opening for Rogue. And these are the sort of small mistakes when people, they say, oh, I love Rogue. I'm so excited when I see him play. And I go, I'm excited to see Rogue's strategy. What I'm not excited by as much recently and a bit critical of is his mechanics and his kind of core execution of the basics of StarCraft. Not sure. Well, is he going to lose a drone? Oh, he does lose a drone. Wow, surprised by that one. So I think, like I said, I love Rogue strategically, but I think he's got to do a bit more practice to back it up. And that's something which we're seeing right now because, like I said, BYUN's looked a little out of practice recently, and yet he's looking way cleaner than Rogue in this series. Way cleaner. Then again, it's Rogue, so you give him a moment of chill calm, and you let his big brain work. He'll find a way to win anyway. That's always the problem. I can say, hey, he leaves holes, and like, it's, you can sometimes just take him out because he's just not got enough stuff. But this time, 4th base into double Evo at 4.5, just past 4 minutes. Wow. Wow. Okay. He's going to be engaging in severe greed. Now, to be fair, it's going to be Cloaked Banshee. He's not going to have an Overseer ready. But hey, I mean, if you're going to build 4 Spore Crawlers in the game where you rush the lair anyway, I think you'd rather just not bother with the lair, right? And just still build the 4 Spore Crawlers. 1-1 upgrade started at 4 minutes 50. That's so fast. Does hit another supply block on 74, does Rogue. It's not the biggest, I guess you could argue. Going towards 8 queens, and these rocks will get taken down. Queen on that right side. Cloak's about to finish. Spore Crawler is going to finish in the nick of time. Perfectly timed spores, dude. Look at this. Cloak is finishing as the spore finishes. And that is pro gamer stuff right there. That's one of those cool things you just don't usually see very often at the lower levels, but you see almost every pro game is just cool little bits of synergy like that. Both players know their timing so well. Now, to be fair, you've invested in 2 Banshees. I don't know why the second one's just sitting at home for BYUN. And like I said, why is he taking this as his third and not his natural? Interesting. Banshee's there, but this is... I feel like Rogue's just gotten away with an incredibly fast fourth base and a late lair. The Banshee didn't really do anything. It killed... You know, he's only killed 4 drones in total this whole early game. One of those with the Reaper. Look at that. It's a fully mining fourth mineral line. Oh, gosh. Rogue's getting out of control. Do we go 8 racks again? We've gone Cloaked Banshees. The Cloak didn't really do anything for BYUN in this game. I know it's a nice bit of safety, but I do heavily criticize how common Banshee builds are. I've always considered the obsession with Banshee builds to be something that was a little bit iffy. I think the advantage of the Banshee build is it keeps you safe from Zerg aggression. And since we're in a meta where Zergs are not aggressive almost ever at the top level, it seems like it's an unnecessary investment unless you're reliably getting good damage off those Banshees, which we saw in game 1 by forcing Spores and Overseers, as well as a few drone losses, but not in this game. And it feels like Rogue's running away with this now. He's got Burrow 1-1, Bane Speed. You know, we haven't seen the sort of inflection points where the weak supply blocks could have punished him early on if there was a really stiff 8 racks push hitting, skipping Banshees, right? Going a 2-on-1 into 8 racks or something like that. In this case, Bane Speed's going to have time to finish. +2 melee started. Burrow's on the way. Doesn't have +2 Carapace gas just yet. There are only 4 gases, so he's making Banelings. He doesn't realize, Rogue, that's a really important upgrade to get going. If he gets +2 Carapace on time, it's a massive advantage, but looks like that advantage might be slipping away as he does go for double macro hatch, 5 base, thinking about a 6th base up front. I'd love to see Rogue ready to swing it on that left side into the natural. As I say it, turns out BYUN's already ready for it. And look at this, Rogue actually has so much vision. BYUN never cleared up his pillar. Oh, I mean, BYUN's doing a similar push to the last game. He's going 8 racks again. Not really a style I really consider BYUN's style. Combat Shields is not quite ready, though. And oh my god, there's so much Zerg. There's no way BYUN can win this fight. The Ling's getting on top of the tanks. Even with that lovely tank positioning, there's just no Marines to guard it. There's not enough units for BYUN on the map. And I felt like an ill-fated push there for BYUN. If he waited a bit longer, maybe, just maybe, but as it is right now, Rogue's got the numbers. Rogue's had the greedy start, and he's going to build 10 more drones in an infestation pit. He realizes that +2 Carapace didn't start, and he goes for it now. He will need a few more Spores when you're playing a 4-gas style like this. You've got 10 Queens, which are, you know, they're okay anti-air. They're not the end-all. Another attack coming through the middle. 1 tank, 48 Marines. Feels like BYUN is pushing because he's committed to an 8 racks build. Doesn't feel like these pushes are really going to do much, though. And look at how easy this cleanup is. I mean, this is just... I took the gold base, you didn't. Your Banshees did nothing while I was being exceptionally greedy. And now I get to take you out. This is kind of a bit of a one-sided game in the other way. You know, Rogue gets bopped, then Rogue does the bopping. BYUN, if you play the Cloak Banshee build, you've got to get more done than this, especially against a guy who skips his lair to rush double upgrades in a 4-minute 4th base. But Rogue using the gold base well does find a way to get in a good position. Medevac goes down, nicely done, and look at that. I mean, BYUN doesn't have the tanks, he doesn't have the numbers, and when you're outnumbered like this, it feels like a hopeless battle because you just, there's way too much Zerg. There's way too much Zerg. You lost your first few tanks as well. Rogue gets an easy map 2 to tie up the series. We're a bit of a flaccid game there for BYUN, up against a greedy goal base for Rogue. But we're back to lane lines now. A map which I think BYUN's going to be a little more comfortable with. I mean, you give Rogue a map with a bit more of a creative build order, the goal base. He adapts. He takes advantage. BYUN played super duper standard and was not able to get in a good position there. So we'll see if Leylines offers him some more opportunities. I think this is my favorite map, my comfort zone right now. I don't know how you feel, people out there watching. You let me know. I don't know why, but I play this every single series. I see it every pro series. It just feels comfortable. And I play as Zerg and Protoss mostly in tournaments at the moment, depending on the matchup. Not really playing as Terran. So maybe Terran players don't like this matchup, this map, but I feel like it just feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's crazy favored. It just feels good. And don't get me wrong, there's points where like I'm playing ZvP late game and it feels really hard to defend these bases. I played a 50-minute game against Jason's friggin' turtle mech. Actually, it wasn't even mech. He opened bio because I did a meme build. I did a proxy hatchery spine crawler to mess up his build order. But yeah, it turned into like this 50-minute plus game. It was crazy. And I remember feeling like the late game does feel a bit bad for Zerg on this map because it's hard to like defend the corners and it's hard to attack into all these different ledges and stuff. But a little bit of end game trouble doesn't make the map bad. Even as Zerg, I still enjoy playing it. We've got the command center first coming down on the natural into double gas. So BYUN's going to mix it up. He's going to go for a bit of a greedier opening. There's hatch gas pool for Rogue. Now Rogue, most players pull a few workers off gas, they used to here, and rally to the natural. I think ever since 2-Rax Reaper was so popular last season, on maps like Crimson Court and a few of the other ones, Alcyon, that we basically saw people just by default rush Ling speed in this matchup more now. And it might be something players are being a little too uncritical of. They're not thinking, hey, let's cut this corner, because I don't know. I feel like when the Ling speed finishes, it's rarely useful immediately. But we'll see how it goes. And Rogue actually being very conservative. He's doing Sue-style scouting. Not actually scouting the natural. He's just going to leave his Overlord in the middle of the map. Cool. Big, this isn't the map you beat BYUN on. I thought that'd be your comfort map. I don't mind Frostline and Whispers of Gold. Those are the other two maps that I play the most as well. But I think they're both fun. But no, Leylines feels pretty good. I played game 1 of that series on this map against BYUN. I was bottom left, he was top right. And I got eBay blocked, had to take my third base as my natural, which I never do, because normally I scout to check for the eBay blocks. Actually, I was thrown off my game, and I kind of beat him in the early game. I was ahead at 10 minutes in that game. And I just failed to capitalize on it because I wasn't really expecting to be ahead at 10 minutes. And then I tried to play late game against BYUN, and let's just say, he went like 5-1 efficiency. He destroyed me. It's so fun as well, because as a commentator, I'm like, BYUN's forte is not his late game. But if he's playing me, like, you know, washed up commentator, Mr. 5K, 5 with Terran, 5.1 with Terran, 5.5, at most 5.6K. BYUN's still a top pro gamer. He's still 1,000 MMR higher than me on a bad day for him and a good day for me. So he still obliterates me in the late game. I'm like, oh, I'm not prepared for this, man. He's EMPing everything, sieging his libs perfectly. He's very good, man. It's cool because, like, back in the day, if we go back 10 years and I was saying, oh, this guy's not good at late game, you would be a lot more pronounced. Like, if we're looking at an older player like Haas, and I say he's not good at late game, like, he's abysmal at late game. Like, by modern standards, there used to be a lot of pro players who literally had such big holes in their game. And I always liken it to, like, early mixed martial arts, where people are like, this guy has really good karate. And you're like, oh, cool. Does he know how to wrestle? Not at all. Literally never wrestled once in his life. But he knows he's doing mixed martial arts. Yep, still not training it. He's going to have a 5-10 year career at high-level competition just trying to kick people in the head. And you're like, okay, this seems like he's missing a whole part of the game that's important, you know? And StarCraft used to definitely be like that a lot, where you're just like, oh, this guy has good jiu-jitsu. He's just going to try and go on his back and try to pull guard immediately and let the other guy get on top of him. This doesn't seem like a good strategy. This seems like it's going to get you in a lot of trouble. But, you know, there was a lot of players who were just specialists at their one or two things. In 2025, even a micro-aggressive focused player like BYUN has very good late game compared to the old days. Got to be a bit more well-rounded to compete. Nice. I like that he doesn't chase there. If you go in too deep, you're going to take a lot of damage on the medevacs from the queens, and the lings are going to surround you. So BYUN just poking here. And he's actually going full 2-base aggression. Oh, old school, baby! Old school! BYUN is going back to what he knows. 2-on-1 into a 3-Rax Marine tank push. He might go 5 racks before third command center. I think probably still builds a third command center. Last time we saw BYUN really vibe with these sort of builds a lot was back on the Data C map pool, maybe 3 years ago. He had so much fun with these aggressive 2-base builds. And there we go. 4th and 5th barracks goes down. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing old school BYUN in action, and Rogue struggles with this style of BYUN historically. Because like I said, Rogue isn't necessarily as mechanical, and this is going to stress your mechanics. You need to spread creep instantly on cooldown. You need to pull back these overlords to not give away free kills. You need to counterattack and flank him and do all this. Right now, Rogue is mass Zergling Baneling on Carapace, but his Bane speed is kind of late, and he needs to counterattack. I don't think he can fight this front on. Maybe he can, actually. He's got a lot of Zerglings. I think he's going to go for the flank. Can he get the tanks? Can he get the tanks? Oh, he's just going to cut off reinforcement. Okay, he's going to go for the reinforcement line, but the depot's raised. No +1 in combat shields is almost finished, but because he knows Rogue doesn't want to fight yet, it's hard for him. That tank not positioned in the corner as much as I would have liked. We'll see how this goes. Massling's going to come in with the queens. Can he deal with it? Here we go. BYUN pulls into a ball. Can the Banelings get on top? The Banelings are trapped behind the queens. The Banelings on the right side, though. They get on top, and it does force the pickup. A juicy cleanup for Rogue. And Rogue cleans up the tanks. But remember, even though that looks like it's game over, I have cast enough BYUN games to know it is not over. When he does these two-base pushes, there's another army and another army. As long as he keeps his Marines alive, he's going to keep dropping. He's going to keep poking around. And as Rogue, you're only on 49 workers. So it's actually the correct call for BYUN to slow down here and just not lose tanks. Put your tank down here on this ledge or somewhere far back and just play this really slow. But he doesn't realize that the third base isn't even saturated, right? The natural's on 12 workers, the main's on 11. He's got 16 workers on his third, does Rogue, to disguise the fact. Rogue is almost defensively all in. Like, he's on such a low worker count. Equal workers with Terran is terrible for Zerg in the long term. So he's got to crush this army and shut it down. The tank's shooting the queens right now. There are a few Banelings coming in, the Marines behind the mineral line. He focuses down some of the Banes. The tank gets a juicy shot on the Ling Bane and trying to fight behind that mineral line. That was not it. Rogue needed to counterattack. You cannot fight behind a mineral line like that. But BYUN, the way he spread his Marines forward, he baited Rogue in and then pulled back to that little corner, that little recessed area, and said, have fun engaging here, mate. And I'll tell you who had fun. BYUN had all the fun. Rogue had very little fun engaging in that position. One medevac goes down, saves the rest of the Marines from the low ground. This tank, Sergeant Chadhammer herself, she is on 31 kills. Oh, man. Sergeant Chadhammer. She's a beast, man. Whenever a siege tank gets in just an absolutely obnoxious position, where you imagine the Zerg looking at that and going, well, that's unbreakable, that becomes a Chadhammer. And she's always going to end up in the double-digit kills. Might even get a triple-digit if this game goes long enough. Lots of Lings getting ready for the counterattack. But the depot raises preemptively. Nice play for BYUN there. Baneling's coming, though. There's no tank ready. Uh-oh, here we go. BYUN's pushing the front right now. He's not looking, which means the Baneling's going to get some juicies. He's going to need to raise the depot, I think. Oh, wait, pulls back to the high ground. There's enough Marines that it looks like Rogue's second-guessing himself. I think maybe he could have surrounded that, but he's going to pull back, wait for more Banes. That means there'll be time for another tank to come out, though, which means you're going to have to turn this into a flank on this army to wrap around it. Now, BYUN does move his tank out of the corner of death. Chadhammer, she's going to move up on that right side. Where's she going to go? Oh, she's going to go in a nice little reserve position there. Does take a bit of friendly fire from another siege tank. And I think he's going to try and drop Marines on that right side. But I don't know if these tanks reach far enough. I think you need to poke forward on the left. Baneling kind of connected there with those Marines, but one Baneling not enough to take them out. Massling Bane flank is getting ready. He needs to spread the Banes down here as well, because otherwise all these units are going to clump there. Beautiful spread. Rogue realizes what he's lacking, and the Queens can defend this angle nicely. The tank's shooting the Queens. The Link Bane comes in. Nice angling for Rogue. Oh! Saves only a few of the Marines. But wait, these Marines get behind the mineral line. There's only space in 2 medevacs, though. These Marines are going to die, and that is an amazing cleanup for Rogue. Unfortunately, though, Rogue's only on 47 workers. Ladies and gentlemen, he's only on 47 workers. He's trying to build drones. He goes, okay, I finally shut this down. He's back up to 55 workers now. He's trying to build another 6. Is that too greedy? Remember, this is not a third command center behind this by BYUN. I think Rogue might be assuming there is a third command center. You know, oh, he's going to lift his main out to the third. He's going to do all this stuff. But you have to stop droning and mass units. 64 workers. Rogue's being greedy. And now he's back into survival mode. He's got +2 carapace, though, which has been massive this whole time. Should have pointed that out earlier, guys. The +2 carapace against the 1-1, so important. He's now catching up on the melee upgrades, all off single Evo chamber. Queenling Bane going to try to defend yet another obnoxious tank in the north. Chadhammer did go down in the previous fight. This is her nephew. His name's Daryl. You might think, Daryl, that's not a name. It's because he's not going to live up to her legacy, I don't think. Oh! Who the hell was flying that medevac? BYUN fumbling his hot pickup. Leaves 6 Marines on the ground for no good reason. Redrops. Doesn't get the Queen. Let's pick up to get out of there. Marine drop in the north at the same time. Baneling's coming forward. Daryl gets a few good tank shots off. He is up to 20 kills, so actually Daryl's doing really nicely. Rogue, I don't think he realizes how few units are here, guys. He's letting BYUN get away with murder. Like 30 Zerglings jumping on that low ground cleans this up with Queens on the high ground, cleaning up the high ground. But he just doesn't know. For Rogue, he thinks there's 15, 20 Marines down there. There's not. There's like 5 Marines guarding it. But this buys time for BYUN to reinforce the front, and that is what we refer to as a nasty. Oh, man, that's a nasty. Rogue's top base is about to be preyed upon. Liberator flies past there. Queen's avoiding it. Marines a bit far forward. You got to be careful. He's going to run those Marines away. Oh, here we go. The Baneling's getting hammered by the tanks. The front tank does survive. Daryl is up to 30 kills. I was wrong, guys. He's absolutely lived up to his aunt's legacy. The Lib on the right side, she gets shot down. Those Marines, hot pickup. Rogue tries to get on top. But look at it, there's just no surface area. You can get like 6 Zerglings on it, but they get gunned down as fast as they get there. Lib sieges on this base as well. Rogue cannot hold onto a 4th base for the life of him. He can't transfer drones anywhere right now. We've got more medevacs flying across the map right now. I guess that's going to join up with this army here. And the base up north will be going down. Baneling Cocoons getting gunned down before they can finish. Crete gets taken out, even gets that one as well. Oh, he's not watching for a second. BYUN does eat some big acidic explosions. But he's going to have to gather his army together. Can't take too many of those. Another Lib comes in. Rogue's not looking right now. Needs to pull that Queen away. Uh-oh. He's going to lose a Queen. She does go down, but the other Queens are quick to arrive. 58 workers for Rogue. He finally gets a 4th base mining, and seconds later, BYUN is there to shut it down. Tank on the low ground yet again. By the way, guys, it looks like Daryl's still alive. BYUN is going to go for a drop in the main. Oh my god, Daryl and his strike force going into the main base right now. Even I'm annoyed by how stupid that name I gave him. He's on 44 kills! Oh my god, 50 kills! He's on 53 kills! I think he's going to get cleaned up here though, surely. 56 kills, 58 kills, and Daryl goes down after 58 kills. Oh, the unit's lost tab almost 2-1 in favor. BYUN redrops the Marines to avenge Daryl, kills all the Zerglings, and Rogue, he's got 12 Banes, 25 Zerglings, and 6 Queens. Micro Jackson going back to my... I love when he plays this style. I know you can't do it too often, but Rogue seemed to know it was coming. He stopped at 50 workers. He rushed Carapace. He mass-sling Bane. But the efficiency that he found was just so good. Now, SCV's on the 3rd taking some damage. This is the main base that floated down, by the way, remember, guys. This is an extended 2-base all-in. He overmines gas so that he doesn't mind lifting and then abandoning the 2 gases in the main base. And that's just such a cool way to do it. He does start +2 armor as well. He's on 2-1 against 1-2 upgrades, so the upgrades are tied in this game. Feels like Rogue, without a 4th base, is dead in the water. His main's half mined out, his natural's half mined out, his 3rd's half mined out, which means Rogue is mining off of 1.5 bases, except he's not even mining those main minerals, so not even that. He's long distance mining. Single Zergling here gets on top of the tank. The Marines do take it out, but look at this. It's a lot of Banelings clumped up. BYUN, whoa, picks up at the last second. Siege tank, nice cleanup there. Looks like some Banes just rolled in. 12 SCVs just went down. Whoa. BYUN needs to go kill him, man. BYUN's trying to rebuild his workers, drop mules. He's adding concussive and some marauders. I think he's got to go. He doesn't have any tanks right now. It's just 2 marauders, 48 Marines. Can't be letting this 4th base survive, though. You've just taken a lot of damage. He's scanning in the middle. Burrow never finished this game. Maybe he was thinking that was Burrow. More Zerglings going to run in on the south. Medevacs and Marines are nearby. They will clean up those Zerglings rather easily. Concussive shells joining the fray this late. Kind of funny to see the single Marauder. All right, Marines and Medevacs trying to come forward. 47 drones, 34 SCVs. Marines up north going to go in. Oh, south side, Banelings! Baneling ambush. Rogue catches him not looking. But look at that, he drops some Marines to try and waste the Banelings. Oh, Rogue, you can't be moving into that. He just wasted like 8 Banelings on 3 or 4 Marines. Big mistake for Rogue while he's distracted at the top. BYUN catches him in the chaos, forces a big mistake there. Dropping those Marines one at a time into the Banelings is really efficient for the Terran. And that was a lovely move. Marine drop into the main base on the south. He goes in again, and then just hot pickups. BYUN doing BYUN things, trying to be as annoying as he can with these Marines. This Queen should finally get rid of this medevac. And indeed, it looks like it will, but no, he changes targets. He changed targets. He's not shooting the medevac, which means the Marines will win because of the healing. Ling Bane trying to roll in. Baneling splitting at the mineral line. Rogue says, I'm going to kill all your workers, idiot. Down to 26 workers. BYUN's economy not looking good. Luckily, he is up against a Zerg that is hobbling. And I got to say, guys, sometimes you're like, oh, I pulled my hamstring. Oh, no. But then you realize you're racing against a guy whose both of his legs have been butchered chopped to shreds, and you realize, you know what? Pulled hamstring, probably still going to win this race. And that's where BYUN's at right now economically. He's got double the army supply. The Baneling's trying to roll in front. Does lose 3 Widow Mines. Sorry, guys. Accidental misclick on the minimap there. That was my bad. Baneling's rolling in there as well. Baneling's continuing to try to roll in the front. BYUN just keeps trying to hot drop. These 4 Marauders in a corner trying to hold the line. I feel like BYUN should save them. Oh, I mean, he keeps trying to do this hot pickup. I feel like this game is getting so weird right now. These last trades, I don't know if who they're even good for. Like, Rogue's defending his 4th. If Rogue could get a 5th base up at the same time, maybe, just maybe, he makes some magic happen. Rogue putting back on gas, I don't think that should be the priority. I feel like just pure Ling numbers are the most important thing, with a few Banes backing it up. But now that Widow Mines are arriving, that's the real problem. Factory is on a reactor. Widow Mines added to this is a real problem for a low economy Zerg. No Hydras or anything like that. Ling Bane finds the army on both sides. Ling Bane in the north going to catch BYUN's Marines, but they hot pick up, load up to go and drop to the north. Marauder Widow Mine, oh gosh. Widow Mine does not fire. Widow Mine doesn't fire yet, and Rogue does not want to engage until that's fired. All he's got is Banelings. He's got nothing else, but BYUN not looking for a moment. He does end up losing that. Massive counterattack attempt here for Rogue. The Banelings rolling in. The SCV count for BYUN, it's down to like 10. He's going to lose everything. The base is going to go down on Rogue's 4th. Rogue's taking UN up top. The Marine Marauder pulls back. 6 drones, 15 SCVs. This game is an absolute hot mess. It is unpredictable. It is aggressive. It is chaotic, but one has to look at the army tab and go, even with 37 workers against 9, does Rogue have anywhere to mine from? No, he does not, and he can't secure that place to mine from because he's down at 20 against 67 army supply. What a barn burner of a final game there.